Okie dokie, artichoke. I guess I'm going to say it's truth time. I'm digging. This is the vibe, and as always, I'm glad you found me, even with that squeak at the end of me. Um, I want to pick up where I left off last video. This is a continuation of Spooked. And I literally was spooked. I felt a presence at my door, and that's why I went silent for about a minute there. And I had hoped that they had heard me talking. So anyway, moving forward, okay, this here really is, truthfully, about humans, aliens, angels, demons, gods, and God. There's a difference, and there is a huge misconception that all alien beings are demons. They're all negative. They're all. Well, imagine if you knew the truth, and that, I mean, of course, we're all gonna look different. That's how it is, and I know that for a fact. I think I said in not this last video, the video prior, that I recalled my mother telling me that neighbors had kidnapped me, and that wasn't exactly the memory I had. And because of my trepidation, I've been a little leery of voicing to what extent outside of I have full memory of it. I recall even the littlest of details, irrelevant of how old I was, that I experienced it. I wasn't alone. And it's funny that, I mean, 50 years later, you get a verification of what experience you had as a child. Like, I even questioned my mother, and I said, can you tell me, is this real, or is this a dream, a reoccurring dream that I keep having? And she said, that wasn't you. And I thought, why would you say that? That's really odd. So I called her on it. Like, what do you mean? So it isn't a dream. This did happen. And I remember it so clearly, and I have voiced it, I have shared it with people. I mean, sometimes just to break the silence or get conversation going, or confirming somebody else that is stating, hey, look, there's other beings on other planets. It's not just us. We can't be that vain that we would think it's just us. We are really fed vanity. That movie that Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves was in? And, at the end of the movie, he chuckled as he turned himself, as he turned into the accuser and said vanity. The biggest sin. And when you think about it, yes, isn't it? I mean, it could literally create this whole other reality on illusion. you know and what is truth sounds way out there, that it makes the illusion easier to accept as a reality. And I know it sounds crazy, but it really is like that. And when you apply knowledge like that and you turn it into an exercise, I would imagine that's how MK came to life. When you do understand that about the brain and our spirit and who we are in this physical body, why we're here, why we incarnated, and this blessing that we do have, and that is the fact that we can remember. If we hear it, we can remember. I mean, some choose not to hear it at all, and I perceive that as them not ready or wanting to remember that because they're happy where they are right now, or they're still trying to figure things out. They are where they're supposed to be. I'm not to judge. I'm not jury. I am just another human being, that is maybe learning different experiences at, simultaneous times, but it doesn't mean that as souls we're not looking to achieve the same thing, right? Right. Okay, so where am I going with this? Okay, I'm going as to where I was yesterday, and I had compared people stealing hard earned money and people stealing your right to knowledge, so you're not making a clear decision as to what is right for you, what is wrong for you. It doesn't simply address your psyche and your desire and your understanding of who you are in your physical body. That's where what am I here for comes into play. What's my purpose comes into play. The answer is so simple that our minds, and I mentioned it in one of the books that unfortunately weren't published, that, you know, uh, man's mind always looks for a Picasso. It looks to see if it can be deceived. I know it sounds crazy. Are we inviting what by doing that? And that's where we should actually begin to look at our actions, how we feel, how we think, begin there and go, okay, well, this isn't right for me. You know what I mean? Like, what would make me think that? Why would I want that experience? Because you're still aware of the fact you are constantly connected to heaven. Constantly. Yeah, don't think it's not a bummer when another one bites the dust, because it is. Absolutely. Speaking of which, I had this earworm. I woke up with this earworm and I couldn't get it out of my head no matter what. To the point where I was going to make this video and I went, I gotta get that earworm. And where I got that expression was Randy Bachman. He had a show on radio and it pertained to earworms, like bookworms, but earworms, ear being music. And it wouldn't go away. It just wouldn't go away. And it was Jethro Tull, and it was Aqualung. And I finally just went, okay, I got to get that song out of my head. I have to hear it. And it's a really good version, actually. It's uploaded April 27th by Joe Pesci's boss. And he's right, it is best version. He is in concert, and I thought, gee, him and Joe Cocker move around quite a bit. They use their arms and they really express themselves. Yeah. So anyway, really good, really good version. I thought to myself, absolutely. And then from there, I started listening to Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, and just thought, yeah, you know what, that's absolutely right. We need to be confident in a species as a whole. Because if you stop to think, it appears that everything is rolled out there for you. Your whole life, your whole future, your whole purpose, and that they know a secret. am I not right? Doesn't everybody feel that or think that? That there is a sensation that there's more to it than just this, that universally somehow something is being withheld from us. Well, there's nothing withheld from us. We are the ones that need to make a conscious application in our convictions. And these convictions is by taking the opportunity, taking a moment to consider that there may be more about you than even you would think, as there is more about each and every one of us as humans, more than we can think. And by, don't ever forget that the human capability to create the web is a synthetic gift. Human beings are capable of that type of communication, and distance, as we humans know it, really doesn't exist. And that's where we get to a point where time and matter, they no longer exist. They no longer exist. We go past this. The only way, I believe, is what our teacher taught us, and that is that our heaven is above all other thrones. Lucky me that I welcomed confirmation, from one species to another species. If I were to say to you, hypothetically, I wasn't kidnapped by my neighbor, I was just given a gift that I had asked for, and that was I wanted to see their kids on their planet. I wanted to know the difference. And I remember it. I also remember I only had so much time before I would be in critical loss of air, breath. And that could pose as deadly. And I thought to myself, I recognized it, that the air was different. And where, they're saying, hey, look at, and even in old ancient writings, they speak about blue skin. And there is a question, is this, why is it like that? Well, it's like that because on certain planets, they don't have the same, carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. They don't have the same amount of air or the same type of air. Unless you incarnated into that, those the beings that live on different planets, could you adapt? Not really, you couldn't. And so it didn't have enough oxygen for me, so they had to bring me back soon enough where I would not be missed, but because I was a gracious kid, they granted me that wish, and I happened to remember it. And so now you might go, why are you saying this now? Why are you saying, sharing this now? Well, because it just feels like it's time. It just feels like it's now. I figure, I better tell people the truth before anything else. At least the truth will be out there. It will, reason with some, and with others, I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah, hokey, whatever. I mean, I've done my own homework. There's multiple different reasons why people do what they do. Um, uh, um, And some, are concerning, and others are comical. What we consider are compromises, and why we would compromise, when in fact, if we understood of the mathematics of creation, we would have a complete understanding of our worthiness. And it's our worthiness that they want to keep at bay from us. So you always have to consider that, and if it's always like high profile in your face, you need to remember: sail, sail, sail. Sell, sell, sell. That's all that is. Pay it no mind. It's a transaction that they want you to make. You're not obliged to make it. You don't want to make it, don't make it. You don't want to pay attention. You don't want to buy into the hype. Don't buy into the hype. It never fills your cup, if I might put it that way. So it appears to me but to each their own. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying, what I have experienced, and I'm sharing that with with everybody out there. Is there anybody out there? Hello, Floyd. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Okay, so I don't know how long this is. I know that I don't want them to be too long, and even if I have to um, get them within 15 minutes and within there, uh, don't lose me because of my rambling. This is really important. If there's anything outside of creating my children that I do is as important to me as my giving birth to them, is my being honest with you, whoever you are. So I think it's something that I should do. I don't know how I was brought here. Well, I kind of have an idea. So, c'est la vie. We have to live dangerously, right? I don't know. Yeah, we do. We always have to take chances. Okay, so I'm going to say there'll be a part three and probably a part four, because I really do want to break down, the understanding. Okay, like travel per se. I know you probably didn't expect that word, but travel. Let's take a look at travel as a word. And look at all the information that you're coming across, all the information that you're reading, all the information that you're listening to, all the information that you are seeking. There really is a way of understanding, okay, what the truth really is, because in it, in the midst of all of it, the truth lies there. It does. And where that comes in is looking at all that has been written by a broader perception of things. In fact, if you can clean slate what no one's saying, hey, put it on the back burner. No one's going against, no one's saying go against your faith. No one's saying, hey, look, you should check this other out. No one's saying anything like that. I'm saying that this information is out there. I know this information. I've experienced this information. This is testimony. And for that particular reason, I am saying it. And when it gets right down to the brasses, humanity is somebody that I love. If we're the human race, I love the human race. I'm a human race. And I really appreciate our existence, our opportunity to exist. especially after learning something like that as a child, how important it was, this planet, that it fed me what I needed in order for me to breathe, in order for me to walk tall and be able to heal myself, because it offered everything that I needed to survive, and be fed. Now, the unfortunate thing, the hunger and the thirst for spirituality just kind of went to the wayside, or what we call spirituality, or what we call thought or thinking, or people in high places say. Um, uh, and I'm telling you, that time frame's ugly. You don't even want to go there. No, man. Yeah, I pray for my grandkids and everybody that I know, everybody that I love, because I realize that um, it's not that they think mankind is uneducated. It's the emotion factor, the heart factor. They understand that when it comes to the matters of the heart, there is no control. And so when it comes to the idea of making certain things public, they really have to fall upon that. And if you look at it from that perspective, you can understand, in theory, you become a stat. They say it's nothing personal, and it's concerning the greater well being of the human race as a whole. you know exactly. Now, whatever it is that you believe, I presented to you how it really is, and this is to provoke food for thought. These videos, I'm going to say things for how they are, because there's a detriment in our skies, and it's being swept, even chuckled about, and yet there is this whole other couple of worlds that are going on simultaneously at the same time. And this is why I guess they came up with the fact, the nickname, they could call us sheeple rather than people, the sheeple, because we were easily swayed. The money, the honey, and uh, the music, I guess, the acting, the art, the art of art in itself, because that's what it is. It's all an art. It doesn't matter, which creative avenue uh, uh, you possess a natural gift. Um, it goes beyond calling it an art. It really, it becomes, it's called a gift. It becomes a gift. Okay, so let's look at this gift for half a second, and what this gift is about, and about travel, like I was saying. Okay. Now, the traveling with all the knowledge that comes at you, with all the knowledge that comes at you, and this knowledge being spaceships, or how do they actually fly? Now, they are finally coming to the understanding that time is a reference, or plays a reference. And I'm going to say, not really, but yes, as we evolve or begin to evolve, we, as beings, need some type of reference, some type of landmark. And we seem to assess ourselves as a human race, pertaining to these requirements, I guess. You know, He said, hey, this is civil. Okay, let's pass it. Hey, this is social. Okay, let's pass it. I mean, I know that it really had to do with telling everybody the truth and there being an actual um, uh, respect for one another as a race, to look at it objectively and say, you know what, this really sucks, but I have to look at brothers and sisters as a number, because that's the only way you're going to come up with a percentage of people that um, either know and are being stifled, or they need to know and they're being stifled. So, you take your pick. Either way, it's a need, and in the world today, it's a need that should be spreading. But I see this being stomped on. Like, honestly, as of late, I've kind of looked at it all like, God forgive me, okay, sorry folks, as a soap opera. And I thought, look what what is handled or being said about different countries, and the public wants to be informed. And I thought, wow, what could you do? What could you create? What illusion can you create in order to affect a certain percentage of human beings based on a psychology that is learned and or thought or manipulated at best. Well, at worst, actually. Not best. Take that best back. Worst. You have to factor that in. The other, how much do we really know about our spirit? How much do we really know about who we are in heaven? How much of being there do you know anything about? And how much of being here do you know anything about? These are super important questions. And again, it's because of knowledge that everybody should have, and it's in our skies. It's in our skies. That really sucks. Like, sucks the huge Bobo Batman. I'm telling you. And I'm not trying to spook anybody. I'm already spooked myself because um, yeah, I have family, and sometimes to have them understand or come around or whatever happened to trust. Why would you tell somebody that you're supposed to care for or supposed to respect? What would be your gain to share rhetoric? This doesn't make sense to me. I don't know people like that. I don't have them in my life. I'm like, what? And I'm not saying people haven't tried. They've tried, but that relationship is a gift. And I don't like to squander it. I don't like to squander the experiences, um, the relationships, the understanding, the love and disappointment in humanity. Um, um, because when we all, clue in, there's going to be a large number that are going to go, how did this happen? What was I thinking? What? Why would I give that up? Like what was wrong with me? Like, wait a second. Are you sure it's like this? Are you sure I turned this away? And that's the sad thing. That's what people talk about. That's what they even get out of scripture. People grieve over the loss of other people before they even go, because, you know, um, uh, they didn't have the truth as factors. They had science as factors, but there's a place where it's blind science. That's what I'm getting at. Some things are the matter of the heart, and when it does become a matter of the heart, um, There's no control over that. There's absolutely no control over who you love. You love who you love. So, that's the big numero uno, yeah, that I'm gonna put out there. So we've got to stop and take a look at um, all of this that I've been um, sharing with you, because I think it's high time that people step back for a moment and really take a good look at themselves and who they are, and understand there's a lot of wonderful things about you, and there's a lot of wonderful things about me, there's a lot of wonderful things about what we create. And I don't see that animal is the first creation of our creation. No, no, it's not that way. Literally from dust we came, to dust we return. Literally. But in the process of that, we are given the gift of being able to live our lives in the human body as a gift, so we get to experience the ability of crying, laughing, worrying, concerning, everything from philanthropy to cold nodes. Way out there in some. Yeah, yeah, I know that for a fact, because when I was told about that, I was like, whoa, I didn't realize we were that far out. Like, that freaked me right out. And that's where I had seen those worlds uh, blow up, and they blew up because of the nuclear um, muck up mess that they made. So after seeing two, I thought it was enough. I got the gist, and of course, I recorded it, and at the right time, share it, and I am sharing it at the right time. I know it's the right time. People need to understand what's really going on and what we're really all about. I mean, outside of our goal, the ability to sustain ourselves in a materialistic world. The moment we have the understanding that it could all be exactly what we want it to be, because we are that creative as beings, until we get that, there will always be, I believe, classes, because some people are going to be a little more hungry than others when it comes to the knowledge that is out there. Some people want to ponder over it a little longer, chew, cud a little longer, and figuring these things out. And some people are going to have that connection where it just, your spirit talks to you. You could feel it in your heart and in your soul. There's no pain in your heart, and everything in you is connecting. Now, I'm not talking about soothsayers, and I'm not talking about any of the sort. I'm talking about the truth and the vibration of the truth. Okay, because really, truly, truth is a prayer. And all the more now, when look how much, energy, we really need to pay attention to energy. Okay, so I went off a little bit. Okay, listen. When it comes to travel, when they speak of travel, I'm going to say there's two types of travel. Okay, one that we mimic here on Earth. So there is going to be the physical travel, okay, of ships, of pods that break away from the ships, and the other travel, okay, which exceeds the knowledge of of um, of of acceptance, okay, and that is that it's manifested in the physical. So, spaceships, we would travel physically, have that experience physically. And there's another travel where you are in your existence, who you are, and you become very familiar with your surroundings. You realize that you're awake in that moment, and you start looking at the experience of life from a slightly different avenue. In the sense, you recognize, or you wake up to the fact that you're in more control of your destiny and your now, and what direction you want your soul to head. It's never been so easy as to embrace that right now. And that is the fact that, it is a gift, and you should respect the experiences that you want to experience, providing it's healthy for all involved, providing there is sustainable love, sustainable energy that feeds and has nutrients to contribute. And I mean in all relationships, because they'll call it spirit. I am talking that. Where I leave my body, I know I'm still me. But the different places that I travel to, the different time frames that I travel to, the different planets or galaxies that I am taking to, that is even more of a reality than the physical, dealing with one of our neighbors in the skies, because that's who they are, that's what they are, neighbors. And today I watched a really weird video about weird as in good, as in really positive. It really has something to teach you. It's amazing. I'm going to pay a little more attention to that. I think it's called gematria. Yeah. Um, yeah. So when you take everything, because all of this knowledge, okay, that is supposed to, and it falls under this um, certain category, that's not even the beginning of it. You have to have the understanding, and you have to have, I'm not going to say respect. I can't say respect, and I'm saying that because I know I'm a human species. I know I'm one of the human race. So, as a human race, I know I have the right to be here. I know that my life was created by our divine, and my being in this body is to experience the gift of life in itself. I've had to learn so much, and a lot of it has been through heartache. A lot of it has. Oh my goodness. And sometimes, a lot of times, more often than not, I have the understanding this is our purpose. Not to have difficult experiences or painful experiences, no. It's to have the knowledge and understanding that your physical body is the gift you chose, because you were all of a suddenly given a pass to be able to go to Earth and make it whatever you want. This is your gift. This is going to be your time to experience all that you want to experience, because you never know, are you going to come back down or not. They're talking about this whole creative, jail. They want you to believe that there's a jail, and hey, wait a second. Don't get me wrong. I know there's a jail, but they want everybody to believe that there's no way out of this jail, that if it happens that, you're at a crossroads, you can go, no sabi, no, non ti comprendo, no, and non ti capisco, no, yeah, I don't hear ya, don't understand ya, don't know what you're talking about. And that in itself as continuum is actually probably the best place, because you don't want to be either way. You want to be right smack in the middle, have that balance, especially when you're going through a streak like this. This brings about a certain level of uncertainty and doubt if you are not looking at yourself as part of a bigger picture. You're needed for everything to function the way that it is. Absolutely. That's how it works. You're never gonna, be put in a place where you don't belong, in the sense of the timing is wrong. Because sometimes people say it. Oh, you were born at the wrong time, or oh, I was born at the wrong time. When in fact, no. Yeah, no. They from that empathy and that understanding and that memory, and they respect it. They might not put their finger on the exact, and it goes right back to what I was saying, time frame, because time is different than what we assess time. Time is completely different than what we assess time. And it is that because we are in our natural state of existence. And that natural state of existence does not possess a physical body. It doesn't possess matter, is able to manipulate matter. It's able to achieve whatever goal it sets itself out to achieve. I'm talking about mankind, and all women, of course. It's given. Hello. Yeah. And we are not really aware of how real this direction of energy that we can create just by willing positive thoughts, positive seeds, positive intentions, outcomes that have everybody's best interest at heart, humanity as a whole. Your desire and your contribution to the civilization and an existence of life. How do you judge your brother? How do you judge your sister? How do you judge your parents? How do you judge your friends? How do you judge your neighbors? If you're doing any of that, you're doing it wrong, because the word is judge. That's wrong. Is wrong, wrong, wrong. Okay. So where it comes to what is the physical, when they're talking about certain travel, I noticed that they are leaning towards, I'm going to say, buffing up the actual physical science and technology that they have found and adjusted to, that even though it's on different realms of existence, it is still there. And they haven't, I'm going to say, they got it because of what was that, the Philadelphia project there. They were able to transfer a physical boat and men on it from one place in time to the other place in time, and some things went wrong. The Philadelphia experiment, and from there, I mean, it was dropped. It was hush hush. It was secret, and who can blame them for that happening? All of a sudden, they were, in shock, and they were responsible for these lives. And what did they say? So when you think about how everything went down and how much information was kept from the public, and you know and balls that they've been dropping, as they're not crumbs, they're loaves of bread, that I see them dropping because they are all of a sudden going to declare that there's one being that is all understanding and all knowing. And before we get there, I think that what each human being needs to know is how they're really made up. Period. You're supposed to know. If you found me and you're listening to me, you're supposed to know. I'll guarantee it. You're supposed to know. Yeah. And why? I believe, because of what I believe, and I believe um, in the fact that the truth shall set you free. And I believe that our Savior, our Lord, Jesus, Jesu, yeah, Jesus, yeah, I know he's real. I know he's real. Like, everybody's gonna have such a wake up call. They're gonna go, "Holy Mother of God! Now, why wasn't there somebody that just wouldn't stop giving up on me, jumping up and down, doing everything possible to get my attention?" So I would have stopped, and I would have looked, and I would have learned, and I would have made the right decision for myself. And I'm going to say bullshit, because you make the decisions that you want to make according to your particular comfort zones at the time that opportunity such as this presents itself in one's life. That's my particular take on things. What I've learned, that I have absorbed, is this energy of instant gratification, and the other of knowledge that we're supposed to have, that no one's talking about, because that knowledge has the answer to our immediate future and moving forward from there. That's humanity asking for a dinghy. Throw me a ball, throw me a floaty. What's really going to happen? Well, people such as myself want to be extremely blatant, and people are looking at what is happening and reading, I'm going to say, the aftermath as time. The aftermath of things as time. Because of how the truth is presented itself out there. And that is that where we are in the here and the now, you have enough information that you can come up with a decision pertaining to what that is in your own mind. Now, that is where the test comes. That is where you create your karma. And I do have to say, you being lukewarm would be the wrong thing. It would really be the wrong thing, because you'd be cutting yourself short. You'd be going, well, you know what, I needed to, have that extra, because I needed to create a nest, and I'm not a really bad person, and it's only going to happen in the here and the now that I'm going to make this decision, whatever the hell the decisions are, whatever they are. When you're arguing with yourself, and you're looking for a compromise within yourself, I'll guarantee it. Excuse me. Um, um, Wrong road. Wrong road. Back up. Doesn't matter what you invested or what you think you invested, whether it's time, emotion, brain, uh, tears, I mean, whatever you've invested, doesn't matter. Back up. The only way that anybody has an opportunity to lose something is if they give it that thought. But when they learn and get their head around the fact that, hey, you know what? I want to experience this. This is what I want to experience. This is what I want to achieve. This is the short term goal I want to achieve and the long term goal I want to achieve, and set out to create it. That is definitely possible. And that's how it should be, because we all have divine creative spirits because of who our souls are. And there is a smaller number, but they know these secrets. They know that this incarnation is divine. They just don't want you to know about it. And so now there's a huge mix up as to an alien spirit, where they come from, what their intention is, where is it all going, why here, the abductees. Um, um, yeah, the one, I think it's a video just before this one. I was very blatant in stating, look at this is an agreement that we make before we incarnate. And I remember asking this, because I did give authorization to be a part of helping that race survive, because that race and what they were working toward, and I've got nothing to lose, by being honest. Nothing. I have everything to gain by being honest. They had asked, ancients, if God could give them a soul. They wanted to be a part of God and a part of God's creation, because they believe how beautiful we actually are. All the poking and all the prying is trying to figure out, what it is that we have. They recognize the fact that our gift is in our soul. And this is the conclusion that they have come to. And, you know, yes, hey, don't get me wrong. I know there's people that don't have, all the memories, except for the memories that hurt them, that shocked them, that instilled fear. Um, um, and what I think is, a little more needed, and I do believe that if they haven't taken notes, they will right about now, because I am going to reiterate, I am the godmother of Patty Cake. And that happened, when I was 4 years old. And this was before I was taken there, because I wanted to meet the other kids. Now, my mother told me I was kidnapped. Um, uh, um, and the reason my mother believed I was kidnapped is because, they tried to purchase me from my mother. And my mother said, "Get the hell away from me and my kid, or, I'm going to take you out. I don't want to see you anywhere near me and my kid." You know what I mean? Like, this is a very angry woman. What did you just ask her? Like you did not get a chance to say anything else after you would ask my mother something like that. So, and I chuckled. I said, "Really, Mom? I don't remember that." She goes, how can you not remember that? I said, well, I remember her, and I remember when I would, go there, but a lot of the times it was more over the balcony. And I was about 3 years old, and I do have that memory. I remember it well, actually. But she could not get her head around the fact that I didn't have that memory. And then what came to me was that memory. And I am like, even now I'm so excited that, the hairs are all standing up because I recognize that we're finally at a time and a place where we could start actually sharing these experiences and either help people adjust, um, help people realize that you are really important in a bigger scheme of things, and it's okay to embrace that us that is made in God's image are royalty, and we're royal because we possess all these gifts. We have to remember, and this is not something that is said, and I seek it, and no one's reminding anybody about it, and yet it's what's kept me thirsty all of my existence, is the memory of my agreement, and I was a child. And here again, I thirsted for truth and acceptance, and um, I had the memory of being given eternal life. And that is when I, began to think the fact that, that was pretty cool. I felt pretty honored being given that, knowing that, my first goal isn't to hurt people or set people up. It's none of it. It really does have to do with going, okay, look, people, well, other people already laid it out for me before I got to this place. Other people laid it out for me. And in the midst of really having the desire to let people know the truth. And I know a lot of people, I'm the truth, I'm the truth, I'm the truth, I'm the truth, I'm the truth. I'm saying you don't have to believe me. You don't. You're totally entitled not to. You're totally entitled to call me nuts. You're totally entitled to think I am a raving Lulu, in one of those conspiracy theorists or conspiracy buffs and this and that. And I have to say, look, science is backing everything up. And, a scientist said just not too long ago that they're no longer conspiracies. They're in the mainstream news. They're no longer conspiracies. They, began happening, and technology is where it is. When we spoke about the chip years ago, 30 years ago even, myself for sure over 30 years, we all saw it coming. We all knew it was coming, but yet, humanity as a whole, the energy, the spirit of mankind as a whole, isn't exactly at a place where they're recognizing their self worth and how special we really are. And, just by intention and by thought, how we vibrate, because it's for the better of all that is alive. Uh, we bless our surroundings, and we bless people that we come in contact with, and we bless people that we care for. All that we love, because that is in our elements. And I do believe there is. The only way that this information would be referred it would be, and this is really cheaping, this is really, really bringing it, this is just cheap, but bringing it to the level of time and space. Because not even time and space has the control over who you love and what your purpose is and why you're really here, and stopping to look in the mirror and recognizing you're it, you're the gift. It's been you all along. You know, you want to get all your relationships right. Well, you know, the moment that you gain the understanding that you're a positive individual, that you really do have total control. I mean, self-healing. Hey, you want to self-heal? Jesus said, and this is where I was getting at, we can do all that he did, all